We want to welcome everybody to our conversation this morning. This is Debbie and Mandy, and I'm Christine, and all three of us are going to introduce ourselves quickly. I am Christine Horn with the Masters Wealth Group, and Debbie?
I'm Debbie Hausman. I'm with Mine San Antonio.
My name is Mandy Smith. I'm a lifestyle and business coach, and I own a title company.
There you go. And we all have a history. We are all in this conversation together because I selected the three of us because we're each in a different decade of life, different business and personal growth, spiritual growth experiences. And I thought that this would make a really fun conversation for other people. We are all in a process in life, and sometimes we feel like we're getting stuck. Sometimes we're very frustrated or we're hurt, or sometimes we've just achieved a huge success and we just would love to share it with somebody.
Yes.
So we kind of have a process we want to walk through this morning. We want to talk about our work history, and then we want to talk about what makes us different in what we do, and then we want to talk about our personal goals. And we're trying to keep our answers to a 3 to 5 minute stretch, so this is not longer than a half an hour to 45 minutes.
That's great.
So somebody who's just checking into it wants to know, well, how long is this going to take me to listen to this? Please just pause it and enjoy it when you can put your feet up and see where you can relate and what you might want to text to us or add to our thought process along the way. My career has been quite varied. I started out being forced to go back to work because I became a single parent, and so I took the first job that was offered to me, and that was in the steel industry. I knew nothing about steel. Of course, I was not working out in the shop, I was in the office, but I was fortunate enough to go to work directly for the owner of the company. And that's been the history, and in retrospect, I thank God every day for his hand upon my life. I have always worked directly for the owner of the company in each industry that I went to work in. So I learned a lot, huge education, without actually going to school and being paid to do it. So steel industry, then I went to outdoor advertising, which is what brought me to Texas. And from here, I went into hotels.com, worked directly with David Littman, who was the original owner. And he was very intrigued with what he saw and heard from me. And he gave me 3 months to decide what my process would be with the company. But it was a 10-year-old company. It was $440 million in revenue. And we took it to $1 billion in 24 months and sold it. So when people say, why did you leave corporate America, or why should we listen to you? I have a history of being able to take something from where it is today, looking at it, and just see what's that single next step to take to make it just go up several notches. And that's what I love to do. Only now, instead of doing it in corporations, I do it for individuals. I enjoy working with people one-on-one. I really do not want to be in a corporation again. When you're in a corporation, it seems like there's a knife that you have to take out of your back when you get home at night. People just are very competitive inside. Instead of building each other up, they like to take over. I don't know how to explain it, but I just like to help people succeed where they are today. And I get to do that now with their personal finances, their wealth growth strategy, and that makes everybody smile. It makes me very happy.
And you're very good at it.
Very
thank
good.
you.
Very
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. The reason that both of you are at this table is because I feel the same way about you. You are very good at what you do. So do you want to go ahead and tell us next? What is
Sure.
your history? What brought you where you are today?
Yes. So I was in the marketing world when I first started. That's where I went to school for. And it so happened that I
Tell her where.
Okay, well, I went to UT, Hook 'em Horns. Studied advertising and PR because I wanted to be in PR my whole life.
Well, you are.
Technically.
Yeah.
And then, things happen. I met a wonderful Air Force pilot. We've been married over 10 years now. And he was stationed in New Jersey after I graduated, so I followed him and got a job in New York. It was wonderful. I worked for an ad agency, learned a ton. I was actually negotiating really big television contracts. So it was pretty glamorous.
That's
it was a
the
lot of
part.
fun.
I was like, tell me.
I know, it was glamorous. We got to meet a lot of celebrities, but what I really loved, to be honest, is that I landed in New York, which can be a big, scary place. Not as much for me. I'm originally from Mexico City, but I landed in a company full of mentors. And I think that's one of those things that I cherish and take with me so much because, like you said,
to New York too.
It
the
wasn't,
hotels are fabulous.
yeah, and it wasn't necessarily that people were just competing with each other. They were really lifting each other up. It was really a company that really took care of their people. And then I was there for 4.5 years, and then my husband got transferred to Delaware. So I ended up in Dover, Delaware. So I tell everybody I traded being surrounded by buildings to being surrounded by cows. So it was great. It was very humbling, and I actually worked for a few months for the local newspaper there because they were starting to sell people some website options and that kind of stuff. And you know what? I went from negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts to explaining to a 70-year-old business owner, he had a shoe shop, why he needed a website. So it was a big change, but it was also very humbling. And at that point, I learned, well, this is really about people, right? And when you really get down to people, that's when you really start making a difference. And then after our time in Delaware, we actually had our first kiddo, then we moved to San Antonio, and I was like kind of in between, right? When you're a military spouse, you have to continuously reinvent yourself. Not that other people do, but here it's like physically you're moving, and you know, either you work remote or you work for yourself. I had a translations company that kind of evolved into a marketing company, which was beautiful. I got to work with a lot of nonprofits. And that's where real estate came in. A real estate team approached me and told me, we love what you're doing in PR, so we'd love for you to tell our story. It was a group of military spouses. It was really cool. We got them some magazine articles. You know, we started working in all these. They're like, hey, you might be really great at this real estate thing. What do you think? And so at first I was a little hesitant, but then I was like, okay, well, I get to still work with people, still work in marketing.
Exactly.
And I was, you know, we were about to have our second kid, and I was like, I need a little bit more flexibility here. I can choose my schedule, or I found out it's not always the case, right? You need to be a little bit more organized than that. But then since then, it's just been a growth process, right? Because I went from working with a corporation, working with a smaller business, and then I became a business owner because I had to run my own schedule, my own business. I got to know people more, I learned more about sales, and I implemented all of this other marketing knowledge that I had. And then I got to meet great people that do other things, right? Like you and I met right when I was starting
7 years ago.
in marketing, in real estate, and then I met you. And so it's just been this personal and professional growth. But I've always just been, I've loved working for myself and understand that the more I can learn, there's always the next thing that I can learn without rushing anymore, because I try not to do that anymore. I try to slow down, enjoy my life, enjoy the kids, enjoy everything.
What I like is the education that you receive in corporate America.
Yep.
But then what you learn is that, wow, I think I could do that better. I could do it without a fight. I can do it in a way that suits my personality, my education, my background, and then all of a sudden when you're working inside the realm that suits you as a person, the clients are just attracted.
And what's beautiful
is
your
business
you
grows.
come up with your own recipe.
Yes, exactly.
You
That's
come up
what
with
I'm
your own
saying.
recipe in terms of what's important to you, what are your goals, how do you like to treat the client, what makes you different, which I know it's something that we're going to get into, but it really, creating that own recipe, it's painful, it costs you sweat and tears and everything else, but it really does develop into something really beautiful that motivates you every day.
Yes. But you can't be afraid of the dishes that don't turn out that you have to trash. Okay?
Well, because
when you're comparing a recipe, it takes a few attempts to make it a perfect recipe.
And it's never perfect. That's the thing, right? Because it keeps changing and the world keeps changing. So it's a beautiful dance that we do every day.
Yes, especially when we're answering to us. Everybody asks me, well, don't you miss answering to a board of directors? I have a board of directors. It's me, myself, and I. And
there you go.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The six of us run this company.
There you go.
Well. Mandy, tell us.
My background, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Born and raised. I lived in Lubbock for 5 years. I graduated from Texas Tech University. My major was human development and family studies. I got out and I found a sales job and figured out I was really good with people, and I never looked back. I got into the title industry business about 18 years ago, and it's just been a really hard, fun growth the past almost 20 years. And 10 years ago, I became a certified coach with John Maxwell team. I've gotten some success in sales, which became to be a VP of a large corporation, and so I've had the privilege of being able to be a leader in some of the largest title companies in the nation. And then about 5, almost 6 years ago, went into business for myself and started my coaching company around the same time as well. So I have been coached for over 2 decades. I've been a coach for a decade, and I really just use that with my team to help them grow and with our clients. And it's fun. It's been a
You're
lot of
hitting on
growth.
something that I really love, which is leading other people to lead themselves. Your job becomes exponentially easier as a manager or as a business owner when people are picking up on the what to's and why to's, and you've helped put them into a position that is satisfactory for their personality and their achievement level. And then you set the stage for them to grow.
Yeah, so I remember y'all were talking a little bit about corporate and non-corporate. I loved working for corporate. I loved it. I like process. I like formal. I really like that. So I took everything that I loved, and what I didn't like, I left it behind, and then I, Mandyized it. And so I really like that.
That's a good term. I
experience.
Mandyized it.
There you go.
I Debbieized it.
Yep.
Yeah, I learned a lot in the corporate experience, and so I get to bring that feel, but then do it my way here. And so, but yeah, that's.
And you're doing it beautifully.
Thank you.
So when we talk about where we started from, what we have grown into, and where we're heading, talk a little bit about what makes you different than anyone else in the marketplace doing what you do. So you're in one end of real estate,
Yep.
and you're representing properties and buyers and sellers. You're in another end of real estate in that you're with a title company, but you also are coaching people in how to become. And then I'm kind of doing it all. I'm helping people with their finances. My goal is to help people not just fall into the norms. There are so many other ways to grow your wealth than the typical 401k plan or other things that are tied to the stock market. And part of what I do that's different is that you own your own wealth, and you're not paying someone else those constant fees to manage it. And they're just putting you in with a lump of people who fit your quote profile. And the company is making decisions on their profitability, and yes, your money will grow, but how much more fun it is to have your own personal wealth coach. And we're not putting you in with the rest of the people. We're designing a wealth pattern for you that suits your lifestyle, suits your goals, helps you get where you want to go, and for way less fees. And you're not waking up in a panic in the morning wondering what the stock market has been doing in Europe overnight or anywhere else in the world, and you can't even respond to it yet because the stock market isn't open here.
Yeah.
So everything I do financially for my clients is, number one, none of it is in the stock market. In other words, it's not a variable product. It is an indexed product, which means it's tracking with the market. Your money is growing when the market is going up, but you also have a contracted return. And everyone always asks me, well, how can they afford to do that? Because they, quote, are the ones out there driving the market up and down. But what most people don't know, if they've not day traded or become savvy in the market, is that you make money on the way down just like you make money on the way up when you're the one driving the sales. If you're just looking at your IRA account or your bank account or your 401k plan, when the market's going down, you are still paying fees for that money to be managed, and you're watching it shrink.
Last year was a good example. I mean, I feel
Very
bad
good.
for the people who lost, but I saw people who lost, and I'm like, oh, my accounts was pristine.
The same
I
thing with
gained.
me. Yep.
Yes, there you go.
I didn't lose a dime.
Just having that peace of mind for me is
Yes.
has really made a big shift and change in my life. Just having that.
So one of the things people would ask me all the time, because of the success I had in corporate America helping corporations grow, they wanted me to help them take care of their money. And I always said no, because I didn't know anything other than just being in the stock market or being in a variable product. And once I learned about indexed products, that was when I said, okay, now I know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to help people grow their wealth. I want them to wake up with the same smile every morning that I have, because it doesn't matter what the stock market did overnight or what it does today during the day. My money is secure. So the money is locked in. It's never less than what we invest. It has a contracted return every year. plus whatever we're tracking with in the stock market, which would be different mutual funds or different indexes. As they go up, so does your money. At whatever cycle you're set up on, whether it's 12 months or 24 months or 36 months, those gains lock in and they're permanent, and your money is never less than that. So that's one of the things that I love doing, is helping educate people. Yes, there is an answer beyond your company's HR department and 401k plan. Yes, there is an answer beyond your local broker that you may go to see. And I can't name any names, but we all know who they are because they're on every corner.
You know who they are.
Or your local banker. They make money off of your money, but they are also the ones driving the market up and down. So with the indexed products, your fees are way less or none at all. They go up when the market goes up. They lock the gains in, and your money just continues to grow. Smaller when the market's going down because you only have, like a 5% contracted return. But when the market's going up,
Still growing though.
you're growing way beyond.
Yeah.
And your money is never declining. So it doesn't take very long at all to outpace most brokerage accounts. So that's what I love to do, is just sit down with people. Sometimes it takes up to 2 years before I start investing your money because we're busy getting you out of debt first.
Yeah, the coaching that your clients receive from you is
Priceless.
totally.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. It's coaching and education. You're not just coaching someone, it's actually you're mentoring and coaching them. Because
And you're offering this very different perspective that we usually don't see because it's not mainstream, and it should be, but it's not. And so getting that, and you really listen, right? You talk to people, you listen, you're like, let's align this with your goals, what works for you. And we talk so much about that. And so you kind of understand what you're doing versus be like, all right, I'm gonna put it here and we'll see. You kind of know.
So one of the things
do.
that surprised me was when I started working with clients, and I noticed that nobody's keeping a budget anymore. They didn't even know what it was. They kind of know what their rent is or their house payment, but everything comes automatically out of their checking account. They don't even schedule it anymore. It's just everything's done automatically. So one of the first things we do is I let you give me your 90 days worth of bank statements and credit card statements, and we create a spreadsheet that shows exactly where every penny you have spent goes. And if it's not accounted for, if it's just money that you spent in cash because you stopped at Starbucks or whatever, we keep track of that too. I have you give me receipts, and we create a spreadsheet. Most of my clients who don't track their money are shocked at how they spend their money. And the fun part is helping people grab a hold of, wow, I don't still want to be in this position 40 years from now. When I start my meetings frequently, I ask the question, how many of you in this room want to earn every dollar you need for the rest of your life? And everybody's hand goes up.
Yeah.
And I go, seriously, you want to work and earn every dollar you need for the rest of your life, or would you like your money to go to work for you? And that's what we do, is we educate people on how to let that happen, how to make it happen in a safe way that doesn't decline with the stock market, gives you actually more spending money in the long run. We kind of have to pressure you a little bit to change some habits in that first year or two until the money grows and it frees up a little bit more again. But then when you're spending it, it's because you know you have it and you've actually budgeted to be spent for that. It's a lot more fun to go shopping when you're not creating new debt and you know exactly, I got the cash for this, this is fun. And I'll never forget the day I bought this suit in particular. It was one of the most expensive suits I ever bought, but it was like, I still had $200 left over. But I had cash. I went in and I paid for it in cash. Could have put it on a bank card and just transferred the money, but there was just something very gratifying, and maybe it's my generation.
No, it's not. When my kids pay with their pennies that they've saved, it's like invigorating.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I know we're moving toward a cashless society, or we keep hearing that we are. I hope we don't, because there is something.
Well, I see debit cards almost as cash, right? Because that's like just, I mean, it's in a
Yeah,
card.
debit card.
Debit cards is like
It
essentially.
comes straight out of the bank.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit of my history. I love helping people, which both of you do, which is why I related to you so well and wanted you both to be in on this conversation today. But tell me a little bit more about what makes you different in your marketplace, what makes you different in the world of title, in the world of real estate, than any of your competition. Why should somebody come to you?
Yeah, you want to start this?
Before we move on to that, Christine, I just wanted to honor you and say thank you so much for, because there's, in my coaching world, in the world, there's coaching, there's mentorship, and there's training. And you've given all of that to me when it comes to financials. I can sit down with any business owner, any person who's new to business, or even my teenagers, and do a reconciliation class of where they're spending their money. You've taught me a lot, and I just wanted to thank you for all that and your friendship.
Thank you very much. I enjoy doing that, and what's nice is doing it in a way that I know is touching people's lives, not a corporation's bottom line. I love corporate America. I love the opportunity it gives people to learn about business and grow, and you fight and you work and you compete in the marketplace and you compete among other employees for positions, doing it hopefully as graciously as possible. But when you have learned to go launch and then launch other people, that to me is where you've reached ultimate success, and that's what I love doing for others.
And for me, there's so many things in the world we cannot control.
Really?
But when you really grab control of your finances and you have a plan and you know all of that, it just gives you so much freedom. And I mean, giving that gift to someone, because I know you've given it to me, and from what I hear, you've given it to Mandy too. I mean, it's priceless. So.
Well, the illustration we use about the bar stool and how many legs are on it and how wobbly is that bar stool. And most of my clients are realtors, and they love to invest in real estate. So their income is from real estate, their investments are in real estate. That's a one-legged bar stool. That's like riding on a unicycle everywhere you go in life. That's kind of scary. But you guys do the same thing for your clients, and that's why I asked you here today. So what is it that you help your clients do that's different than going to the big mega title companies or the big different real estate
mega
companies?
teams? They exist too.
Yeah. There you go, mega teams.
Well, what makes Succession Title different is that it's more of a boutique title company. So not that we're fancy, it's more of a small feel. So if you go to like Nordstrom, it's like, ooh, there's all this, clothes and this. But when you go to a neat little boutique, they have like specialized stuff there for them. So that's how I describe. We're not a fancy boutique, but we like for everyone to feel really special when they come in. From a first-time home buyer to somebody who's just used to being around luxurious things. We want them to have that feel when they come in here. In addition to that, I am the most active owner in a title company in San Antonio. I reach out to both sides of a transaction because we represent the transaction, not the real estate agents. So I reach out to both agents, introduce myself, let them know if there's any hiccups or they need any immediate assistance. The team can't get to them immediately for some reason, like here's my number. So I'm very, very active, and I reach out. I do a lot of philanthropy in the San Antonio market, so I like to bring my clients along with that so we can market and get to know people in the community, to give back in the community as well.
Yes, very true.
In addition to that, like I said, I have been coached for over 2 decades. I've been a coach for a decade. When I meet with realtors, builders, and developers, I'm not just talking about business and how we can give good service. I mean, that's a given. We're going to give you, every title company should give you good service. We go to HEB, there better be milk and eggs on the counter. It shouldn't be like, ooh, there's milk and eggs. No, it should be there. So you should get excellent customer service at a title company. But I really dive in and dig in with my clients. I'm like, how's everything going? How's your family? How's business? How's your self-care? How's the kids? Like, tell me like your hacks for dinner or on busy weeks. Tell me your hacks for date night. How to really just live life to the fullest. Are the types of conversations that I have with people. And I've been trained. I personally have techniques and skills that I've implemented in my life that have brought me amazing results that I like to share with others. So it's different when you do business with me.
It is, and one of the things I appreciate about that and try to incorporate it in my own business and found that even to be true in corporate America is when you personalize a transaction, when you get to know the person, not just the transaction, all of a sudden they are much less tense about the transaction, and the transaction itself goes much more smoothly when they feel like they are viewed as a fellow human being and not just numbers on a page. And when you give that to someone, I can't tell you most of the time, and this is what I love about working for myself and not having anyone else in the office, I bet 95% of the clients who come to me, we end up having a prayer together at some point in time. They just open up, and it's like, okay, they come running into the office, and we have to get all the personal things out of the way first, and now we can deal with business. But business just goes that much more smoothly.
Yeah.
But it's also so much fun to be at this stage of life where people see your wisdom and your discernment, and they see your experience, and they ask you for those things. And you get to have that kind of input. That's the icing on the top of the cake, and then there's decorations on top of that. Which is, this is just fun. Life is fun when you really focus on developing yourself in the business world, and then developing the business second. So.
And then if they're older than me, wiser than me, like I pick their brain. I'm like,
oh
okay,
yeah,
any
day of the week, teach me.
Because successful people love to coach, mentor, and train other successful people on how to get there.
And it's
but
amazing.
a lot of people just don't ask them.
Or you're not open to it either, right? Because a lot of people think they need to do it on their own, and we need to let that go.
Yes, don't feel like you have to hide where you are, because then you can't take anything new in.
Yeah.
So I just soak it all in.
So it's funny, because when I talk to you, I'm like, you're a little bit further ahead when it comes to business and finance and knowledge, and I'm like, and I get to absorb all of those years of experience, so it's a gift.
Okay, so tell us, which decade of life are you in?
I am still in my 30s.
Yeah.
And you are?
A couple more years.
Still, okay. Well, we're jumping over the 50s. We don't have anyone in the room in the 50s. And I'm in my 6th decade, and come February of next year, I will be moving into my 7th decade. But what excites me about that is 7 is the perfect number. So I'm looking forward to the best 10 years ahead that I've ever experienced.
Oh, I feel like every decade has been that for me,
Yes,
so I can't wait. I have 18 months until the next decade, and I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, there you go. So tell us what makes you different in the marketplace than all the other millions of realtors that are out
That's
there.
the perfect word for it, million. So real estate has unfortunately become a little bit of a race, right? And it tends to be a little bit disappointing to me, because the barrier of entry is very low. And on another conversation, I can kind of give you my thoughts about why I don't think that's a good thing.
Right.
But we've lost track of the fact that we are helping people or businesses, right? Because I mean, we're also talking about maybe somebody that's buying an office or etc. Acquire probably the most expensive asset they will acquire in their lifetime, or sell it. For families, it's a home, it's memories, it's what happens within the walls, it's what's gonna help you, when you have like your children and have their space. It is part of the vast majority of people's number one goal in their lives is to be a property owner.
Right.
And it's become a race. It's become a race to generate more and have more numbers and more transactions and more and more and more. So I feel like the industry has lost the notion it's about people. It's about listening to them. It's about why they want to acquire it. It's about listening to their concerns when it comes to financial. Are they ready? And as a realtor, you have the privilege to be part of that journey.
Yes.
And so what makes us different is we've taken a step back of all the noise, of all the racing, of all the let's race to get the awards, and just let's have people that feel like as soon as they're at the closing table, which we have here in this office that makes them feel at home, oh my goodness, I just made, yes, it's nerve-wracking because it's a lot of money, or yes, it's nerve-wracking because I just made the best possible decision, and I made it because I had every piece of information I needed to make it.
There you go.
And so that's the goal, right? Sure, we do this for a living. Yes, when you do it right, you can be very successful, but focusing on the people, that boutique that you were talking about, I feel like many people in real estate have lost that notion of responsibility and of privilege that you get to accompany somebody to do something so important. And that's our main why. I work with a lot of military too, right? I mean, It's very different to work with a military client. It's back and forth. It's understanding where their history is, what they're looking for, what's going to be important when they leave, and having all those conversations versus like, what are you looking for? Let's go get it. You need to buy this. That's not how it should be.
I was just going to say, I love what both of you are saying, and Mandy especially, because when we sold our home before we built the one at the lake, it was almost like we didn't matter. It was all about the buyer. They got the special treatment, and they were just bopping in and out of
Yeah,
our
and it
room,
shouldn't
and
be.
it was almost kind of rude. I love what you said about treating both sides,
Mhm.
very especially. It's a big day, whether you're selling or buying. It's a very big day. That's like you said, it's your largest asset that,
Yeah.
that you have. In many cases, and it's important that that be a memorable transaction.
Yeah,
And that's what I
and
love
that's what your
about
agent's
both of you.
supposed to do, right? So an agent's supposed to make sure that you're comfortable, just like whatever side you're on, whether you're a listing side or you're on the buying side, your agent's supposed to represent you on all levels, your comfort level, your financial level, just having those conversations in terms of making sure it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's a big transaction, it's a lot of money, but how do we keep those nerves at bay? And that's with proper guidance. And people just look for that closing date and that closing check, and it's just not how it should be.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about helping people that are moving into that era of buying their own home, is helping them plan ahead financially first, so that once they have that largest thing in their budget in place, they have already pre-planned and pre-organized their finances and their savings to have enough money to cover clothing costs when school starts, kids' feet who grow faster than their shoes, or shoes that wear out faster than whatever, plus all the sports gear they're going to need for the year. We sit down and literally go through the details of living life, prepare for it financially. Now we can go make this next big step and not wake up in a panic every night wondering, how am I going to make mortgage and pay the insurance?
Yeah, and I remember when I first started in real estate, I remember sitting in this meeting and people were like, we're going to go over a script about how to make sure that somebody that calls you because they want to rent a house, turn them into a buyer. And I'm like, wait, is the goal actually listening to them and understanding why they want to rent versus why they want to buy, and presenting all scenarios, all solutions so they can make the decision? I'm not here to push them to do anything.
Exactly.
So that pushy thing is, I mean, and I'm very blessed to have a fantastic business partner, right? And it's been just a beautiful marriage of business and friendship, because we have the same mentality, we treat everybody the same, and we were like, this is not our job. Our job is to be here for you, guide you, answer all the tough questions, fight for you, advocate for you. I'm not here to tell you what to
Well,
do.
there's a really tremendous result when you do business that way, and that's that your advertising costs go way down because you end up living on referrals. Just keeping up with your referrals is amazing. You don't need to be in every magazine and on every billboard on every corner just for people to know who you are.
Yeah.
They talk about you a lot, which suits me just fine because I was always the shy one in high school and the shy one all of my life.
I wasn't.
I know, that's why I love you too. You've got these personalities that just exploded. I'm the one who stands back in the corner and watches all the entertainment.
You never know that, right?
No, you wouldn't. I mean, I've had so many conversations with you and they're just enlightening. and fun.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
But to go out there and market myself to strangers or expose my business out in the cities, I need you guys.
We'll scream into the world,
I need
don't
you
worry.
guys to make that happen. But that's one of the things that I keep hearing from all three of us, which is why I thought this was a great pairing for this conversation, is the sincerity of what you do, the accuracy and effectiveness of what you do in the business world, being a top performer, not necessarily in the largest company out there, but a top performer in understanding your industry and the details of it and the accuracy of what you do. And then just coaching your teams and preparing yourself to connect with people on that human level so they can relax and conduct business with you more effectively. Right. And I think that's the thing that most people miss out on in the business world or in their quote jobs, is they don't put it, they don't humanize it, they don't put people first, so that the business can flow in a better way and in a more profitable way. So one of the things, the last thing that I wanted us each to mention was, what are our personal goals? Why do we like serving people? And what do we hope is the input that you have in their lives? What do you want? Do you want the person to remember? Oh gosh, do you remember the person who was my realtor when we bought this house? I wonder if she's still doing business. Does she still work with that title company? Because that was so much fun to go close to her. Because people grow, they want to sell their homes and buy the next one, or they want to start buying rental properties and turn real estate into an investment piece for themselves. And I coach people all the time on how to make that happen. But What is it that you want people to remember most about you, whether it's you personally, your family life, your faith life? How do you humanize yourself with your clients?
So I think for me, I mean, we're in this world for a very short period of time, right?
Yes.
And I'm blessed that I have 2 beautiful children, and I always see myself, I'm like, I'm the example for those children, to begin with.
Right.
But I feel like if you really help somebody achieve something they wanted, we live in a world where people feel like they don't care, where there's bots, where there's like just a gazillion calls. But if you have someone in your corner that cared, that made a difference in your life, that made your life better, that helped you ease anxiety, that's actually took the time to slow down and give you the focus and attention, that's the person I want to be remembered by. I want to be remembered as, hey, you know what, this realtor, for a lot of my military clients that, move every 3 to 4 years, I still hear, you are by far the best realtor we've ever worked with. We so wish we could take you with you everywhere we go.
Right.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it.
I love that. I love that when people say that.
It feels great,
and
to
that
have,
gets reaffirmed with every referral that you get.
and to be just like a positive thing in their life.
Yes.
When you walk into the room and you're inviting and people want to learn from you, they want to, get that contagious energy from you, then you're doing something different, right? The world is beautiful, but the world is also not easy.
Right.
So if you just have that little bit of like, oh, she made it a little easier in this tumultuous world.
I've had people ask
I've
me,
done my job.
doesn't anything bad ever happen to you? You're always in a good mood. And I go, yeah, bad things happen to me, but I have a faith factor in my life that I just turn it over to God, and He's bigger and bolder than I am, so He can take care of things and promises that He will. So I just relax and let life keep happening. Like we said earlier, let the bad stuff fall away, focus on the good, take it and keep running forward.
And keep working hard, yes.
And it just, everything keeps working out that way.
And something that I've learned too, it is the best thing you can do is we let our emotions and other people's emotions influence us and stress us out. Just look at it for what it is. Don't make it any bigger, don't make it any smaller, take a step back, take a look at it, and that's the best way to really advise yourself and advise other people too, and it immediately brings that stress level down.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and the other thing is that other people's feelings, thoughts, desires, angers, frustrations, jealousies, demands on you have nothing to do with you.
Correct.
Or who you are. Their anger, their poor choices, their bad behaviors, that's on them. And they're trying to put it on you, but it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. So just relax, smile, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and
God hasn't changed. His love for you hasn't
But see,
changed.
what I admire from both of you, and it's something that I've learned, and it's something that a lot of, especially on like the younger realtors or the newer realtors don't understand, is that just because you're setting certain limits, and limits is not a bad word actually, or just certain boundaries, it doesn't make you not available, it doesn't make you not responsive, it doesn't make you tailored. It just gives your clients a framework for, hey, this is the process, this is how it's gonna work, these are the boundaries, right? And it comes with like the emotion stuff, right? If somebody raises their voice at you, they might be frustrated, but it's okay to be like, listen, let's take just a step back, let's calm down, let's not raise our voice, it's gonna be okay, right? But just because you're working with people and you're really a people person and you're tailoring and you give yourself, just also have those boundaries with what you're willing to accept and not. And it's easier, what you said, when you understand that it has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
That's right. So Mandy, I have seen that in action with you lots of times where you go, okay, well, we're just gonna do this, this, and this, and we'll take care of it. So, not trying to give away the store or anything like that. We all have to be very profitable and successful at what we do, and that integrity is in you completely, and that's why I love aligning with you in everything that we do. So tell us a little bit about your goals and how they shape your life and how you hope they're shaping other people's lives.
Well, currently I'm working on, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, on my 5th decade goals. I'm working, I mean, because these are
good bragging,
5-year goals that I'm working on, and I'm working on the next version of myself, the next evolution of Mandy. For the past almost 20 years, I've been in the real real estate industry. And so in the next 5 years, I'm going to be bringing up other leaders underneath me while growing with my clients.
Yes.
Being a coach for the past 10 years, and like I said, being coached for the past 2 decades has really brought amazing things to me. So I have a lot of value to give to a business owner, a very successful person who went up the ladder and found out it was the wrong ladder and they're not happy. I know how to help them heal. I know how to help them refocus, reset, find the joy in everyday living in life and through the challenges, and to really maintain a level of peace. And peace isn't like, oh, nothing's going on in the world. It's being able to have the challenges and you're like, okay, I feel the wave of overwhelm coming, but I'm gonna breathe through it. And what's just the next right step?
Yes.
And so just
Peace
to really
is
help.
confidence. Peace is confidence that you know how to go find the answers and fix things. Not that you're freaking out that something went wrong. That's life.
Yes. But people don't know that. I didn't know that in my other decade. I didn't know that. And so I would figure like, what are we gonna do?
But I think you bring such an important point, right? Because we're talking a lot about business and success and what we've done and what we've learned, but I feel like a big portion of that has also been working on everything on a personal level, right? Because being good with yourself, personally, health-wise, and I'm not talking about just physical health, I'm talking about financial health, I'm talking about you being okay helps you so much more being okay with your business, because then you align your personal goals with your business goals, and that is something that you and I have discussed so much and that we talk about so much,
and
how
we worked
important
on
it
together.
is. Exactly. We've actually sat down at like the kitchen and worked on it, and that is something that as soon as I got into real estate, that changed a lot for me, because I realized I'm the one hustling and bustling. I don't have a company taking care of me. I don't have a company providing a match for my 401k or insurance or all these other things. And I realized that my physical health, because of the stress, was being affected too. So doing personal work on that end has also helped me increase my business, be happier, have more peace of mind. And when you have that, I mean, on the business world, the sky is the limit.
That's what I love about what I do with both of you from a financial standpoint, is it takes one of the biggest stress factors out of life when you know that your money's not disappearing because of someone else's choices to go make profit for themselves.
And also
By
honest
driving
conversations. Honest conversations.
Honest
Be like, okay, here are the
conversations.
statements.
Yeah.
And so I think all of it is just working on that. You know, it goes hand in hand.
Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing, and I hope that you gain benefit from this. Hitting the airwaves.
Absolutely.
Publish it wherever you want to, and we hope to be a huge encouragement.
Let's do more.
Professionally, personally, and spiritually to the people around us.